If, as we said earlier, user behavior is the weakest link, how do you deal with unsafe users, or especially the repeat offenders?
I think every organization is going to be different. I think we try to implement policies that, educate the user of the risks and the data that they're dealing with, understanding the importance of that data. And if there are multiple occurrences where they're putting the organization at risk, then some action, will be taken. But I think it's going to, vary from every organization. But I think it is important to set that bar of user expectations, acceptable use, having those policies and procedures, maybe having the right restrictions across what your users can get to. It's going to vary from every organization, but it's definitely something to think about.
How do hospitals prepare for cybersecurity breaches?
Yeah, so we do periodic tabletop exercises, as well as bringing in a third party on occasion to run through those. Just because it does help pull together the right teams, get everybody thinking about how we need to respond to this. It helps us practice our incident response plan. It also helps drive those conversations, those what if conversations. What if we can't contain this and it continues to spread? What's that escalation path? What's that media communications path that we need to follow? It's a good exercise, and I would recommend to organizations, if they're not doing that, to start doing those.
So, if breaches occur and security holes in software or devices are discovered, what do you do?
If you go through a lot of these breaches or incidents, it's really patching, and it also, that patching overlaps to some of those vendor conversations we had earlier. If you've got legacy applications and systems, somebody's got to be responsible for patching those, whether that's your own organization or those third parties you partner with, and really holding them accountable if they're not holding up on their end of the bargain. Because if you think about most of the significant breaches or incidents that impacted not only healthcare over the last year, a lot of them were due to some type of vulnerability.
John, any final thoughts on securing the cyber side of healthcare for hospitals?
And it really boils down to evaluating risk for that organization and understanding what are the important data processes, what are those mission critical aspects of the day-to-day operations. And obviously you could unplug a hospital from the internet to protect against cybersecurity threats, but then where does that leave you? So it's really that risk balance.
Andy, you've told me in the past that you thought cybersecurity was going to become less problematic in time. As a final note, would you expand on that thought here?
In a few years, it will be required that you offer pretty comprehensive access to records. We saw a little bit of this with meaningful use, where we had to give people patient portal access, but I think that is going to just continue to build momentum, and I think we'll see new security structures to allow people to possess their own data and then share it as needed across providers. So we may see the possession of data fundamentally change and be much more distributed. I think, because we seem to have a desire as a country to democratize access to healthcare data.